Hello guys, it's me again, Julius. Thank you for visiting this channel. In this episode, we're going to make this cute RC plane. Some time ago, in one of my videos, there's a comment requesting me to make cartoon style RC plane, but at that time I was not really interested to making that kind of plane because I like to build a scale model. But about a month ago, my friend brought a cute RC plane, Piper Cherokee in cartoon style. At that time, I look at the plane as his plane. I think it's a challenge for me. So here it is. This is a super deformed or cartoon style T-28 Trojan. This is basically just a normal plane with cute appearance, fatty and cute appearance, but basically it's just a normal plane with a lot of drag. Okay, let's make this plane. Plans is available for download at paper-replica.com. There's a direct link to the model page in this video description below. There are two sizes of plans that you can choose, A4 and A0, all in PDF format. Cut the parts and combine them according to the parts number. And then trace it onto 3mm and 5mm foam board, and finally cut the foam with cutter knife. I'm going to build the wing. First, you need to draw a line on the lower part of the wing for spar position. Sand the leading and trailing edge like this, so the lower part can receive the upper part better. It uses flat bottom airfoil, so you just need to curve the front portion of the lower part like this. I am using a heat gun for easier bending, and the foam itself will not break easily. Continue by attaching former and spar. Use the spar to guide the correct angle of the former. Now curve the upper part of the wing by using a heat gun like this. 3mm foam is easier to bend than 5mm one. Close the wing with combining the upper part and lower part of the wing. Start from the leading edge. And then close the wing by gluing these parts in order. The spar first, then the airfoil former, and finally the trailing edge. Do it quickly before the glue is cooled down. Watch for the height of the leading edge. Make sure they are at the same height from wing root to wing tip. You need to adjust it before the glue is set in about 30 seconds. It is crucial to control the gluing process because you don't want to have a twisted wing. I am making a wing tip by stacking 4 layers of 5mm foam. Because the wing has dihedral angle, so you need to cut the root of the wingtip in angled fashion like this. and then glue it to the tip of the wing. Carve the wing tip with cutter knife, then smooth it with wet sandpaper. Trace the aileron 1 cm from the wingtip edge and then cut it. Remove 2 mm of aileron edge to give space for aileron movement. Also remove 1 cm of the aileron lower leading edge like this. And use the cut piece to fill the gap inside the aileron. Add another piece of foam to fill the aileron like this. Finally, sand it like this. Insert a piece of foam inside the wing and glue it to the lower part like this. It is function as reinforcement structure for receiving landing gear later on. Close the gap from aileron cutting by using 5 mm foam like this. Combine the left and right part of the wing. You can see here I just sellotape the aileron temporarily to the wing. We will add hinge later after covering. Fill the gap with hot glue. I'm going to build the middle part of the fuselage. This is one of the parts. Don't cut this part yet until it fully assembled. Curve and roll the part into cylinder shape. Add the first former from the center like this. Remove the middle of the former to save weight and to make easier to access all the wire. And cut the cockpit hole like this. This is the top side where the cockpit is. Attach part for the nose, start from the bottom. See the center mark on the plans. Stack up to a layer of 5 mm foam to be a firewall. In here I already attached the firewall, but I forgot to record it. Use 5mm foam for this part, and then carve and sand it like this. And then continue by attaching the tail section. Watch for the seam mark on the bottom. I am going to install the wing to the fuselage. First, we need to cut the belly for placing the wing like this. And then glue the wing to the fuselage. Add pieces of foam to hold the fuselage from inside like this. And then by using another guide from the plans, cut the belly skin that we already cut earlier and attach it back to the fuselage. Sand the vertical step leading edge until it has round edge. Cut a hole to insert the vertical step to the tail. By using a guide from plans, mark 2 holes on each tail side for inserting horizontal step. Then look at the drawings we just made from behind and make sure both at the same height. I noticed the right drawing is a bit higher than the left, so I need to cut about 2 mm down offset of the right drawing, so they will be at the same height. You need to cut a bit of vertical step part that already inside the tail to make way for the horizontal step. Follow these steps to build a canopy. Trim this part to fit like this. I use 0.3 mm mica plastic for the canopy. Make glue flaps on this side like this. and then attach the front windshield to the cockpit. This is a canopy base from 3mm foam. Cover it with paper and paint it black. And then assemble the rest of the canopy. Add a detail part on top of the engine cowl. I use wax paper again for covering, for easier coloring, because I need to paint it solid yellow. But you can always use packing tape for cover. The basic steps for covering with wax paper are: apply glue on several places on the foam with finger. Spread the glue evenly with wet brush. Apply wax paper on top of the foam or wing. And then wet the paper entirely with wet brush. Peel off again the paper and spread smoothly with wet brush and a lot of water like this. And then fold the excess paper to the back. Wait overnight or 3 hours until it dry out, and then patch the backside with wax paper until all covered with paper. Do the same for other surfaces until all covered with wax paper. I use depron dark yellow for this color scheme. For control surface hinges, I use masking tape. I should attach the control surfaces before applying paint. But in this case, the control surfaces have not dried yet when I apply paint. The most fun thing in making this project is when applying decals. I made the decal myself from printed vinyl stickers. The decal file also can be downloaded along with the plans. I use painted masking tape for canopy frames. This is how I make a lock system for a canopy. This is how I mark the CG point. Measure 25 cm from the wingtip inside edge, then measure 6.5 cm to the back. That's the CG point. My target is to maiden this plane on the weekend, so to save some time, I use ready-made landing gear from my previous model, Wallet. Correct size landing gear you can see on the plans. You also can see how I made landing gear in detail in other model. Here I am making a motor mounting with 3mm plywood. I add 7mm plywood again to the motor mounting. In here I use 2030 1000 kV motor with 10-inch prop. Install servo for aileron. Aileron wires come up here. And this is how I installed servos for elevator and rudder. The center one is for elevator. There is a Y-shaped push rod to pull and push the two elevator control horns. And the left one is for rudder. For more detail, look at the plans and build instructions. I use this part of foam to barricade the battery position like this. Just glue that part on the front former. You just need to put the battery and ESC in there. This morning I wake up late, arrive at the flying field around 10 AM. It's already windy but clear sky, and the temperature is hot. You can see I made a foam spinner there, but I ended up remove that. Okay, this is it, the first flight ever. The motor is barely enough power to take off, but not enough to maintain flight. The plane is okay, just motor mounting is loose.
Dari mana? Lagi.
You can see here I replaced the prop from APC to SF, slow fly type. Dulu depan.
Kelakuan ini dia, hah?
Jangan dong, yang ini yang bener dong. Sayang lagi masalah.
Ini tuh, dapat tau Jul, gua Jul. Center terus.
Tinggian nggak dapat kameranya mau.
Dah gua segini nih.
time the motor mounting loose again, so I end the test flight for today. Okay, this plane definitely can fly. Is it enjoyable? I think not so much. Maybe because it was underpowered. When Maiden Flight, I use this 10-inch prop. So I replaced the props with 11-inch 3 blades prop. 11-inch 3 blade props is equivalent to 12-inch 2 blades props. This is 10-inch, this is 12-inch. With this prop, I hope it will generate more thrust and more power to take off and maintain flight. Because the bigger prop, I need to replace the motor too. This is 35 motor compared to the previous one is 28 motor. And I also made modification on the cowl. I close this hole on the cowl, so I hope the airflow will direct it to the back, to the side and back, not inside the cowl. Maybe that's the cause of a lot of drag on the previous flight. I will fly again this plane next week and share the result as part 2 of this model. Okay, the next project will continuing or making part 1 of Douglas DC-3 next week. Also sharing this new motor. Okay, that's it guys. Thank you for watching. If you like this video or this model, consider to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Like and don't forget to click the bell button on the subscribe. And I have trouble setting up Patreon, so if you want to support me, you can send your donation to my PayPal here. Thank you and see you on the next episode.